We are right now sitting on a bubble that's going to explode, and it's going to be a real bad situation. Because if we have another 3 or 4 years, we're at 18 trillion now. We're soon going to be at 20 trillion. According to the economists, who I'm not big believers in, but nevertheless, this is what they're saying, that 24 trillion, we're very close. That's the point of no return. $24 trillion. We will be there soon. That's when we become Greece.
Whether you love Trump or hate him, he's telling you an inconvenient truth the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. Truth is, our economy is on the verge of collapse. You might not know this, but looking at the historical performance of the U.S. economy for the past 50 years, analysts have confirmed there is a 96% positive correlation between U.S. economic bubbles bursting and presidential elections. And that's not the only problem the American economy faces. Due to the Federal Reserve printing money like there's no tomorrow, the U.S. dollar is rapidly becoming devalued to the point where it will become almost worthless. Even whistleblowers at the World Bank have openly stated that the U.S. currency is no longer viable. On top of that, the United States is suffering from too much debt.
Well, there is a terrible currency problem. We're on the verge of a currency war. The Federal Reserve is printing dollars like there's no tomorrow, and if they keep going, the rest of the world is not going to accept them.
Which is compounded by the fact that the U.S. dollar is overinflated already. This all adds up to one thing: an economic collapse of epic proportions much larger than the last economic crisis a few years ago is going to take place, and the timing directly correlates with this presidential election. The bad news is this will be the year when the United States sees a financial meltdown so astronomical it's almost impossible to fathom. In this shocking documentary that you are about to witness, you're going to learn the shocking reason why 48 out of the past 50 elections in the past have resulted in market collapses that directly correlate with the presidential elections. But there is good news. You'll want to make sure you watch this to the very end, as you'll discover a little loophole that the ruling 1% of the elite used to legally transfer wealth from the masses to them during each election crash. But that's not all. You'll learn how you, too, can use this legal loophole to your advantage, so that you're not only able to protect your existing assets and savings, but also be able to profit tremendously from the coming economic collapse. In fact, by the end of the presentation, you might find yourself almost begging for the U.S. economic bubble to burst sooner so that you can exploit this legal wealth transfer and come out on top. You see, the U.S. stock market has a long history of rising preceding and during up to election years. In fact, over the past 50 years, the stock market has gained ground in all but 2 presidential elections. In other words, in the past 50 years, 48 out of 50, or 96% of the time when there's a presidential election, the economy goes up in the years and months before the presidential election. Market insiders know that there is a strong positive correlation with the 4-year presidential cycle, and it is more than a coincidence. In fact, it's known in the industry as election year markets. The political party that holds power has a strong interest in bolstering economic conditions in the months leading up to the election. For example, over the past few months, the stock market has been steadily rising, and it seems like Obama has been doing a good job, right? But what you don't understand is that this is all a facade. What you don't realize is that Obama, just like all the other presidents before him, have already implemented the more difficult and unpopular policies earlier in his presidential term. That is why it's no accident that the economy and stock market are typically looking good around Election Day. And as you know, what goes up must, by definition, go down. How long do you think the growth brought on by the election year markets will hold? Have you asked yourself what is the underlying cause for this occurrence? Who is responsible for creating the environments to produce election year markets? Put simply, follow the money and you'll get your answer. For the past few centuries, each and every significant financial collapse has been carefully orchestrated by the elite 1%. This is particularly true in the past 100 years. From the spectacular stock market crash in the 20s that led to the Great Depression in the 30s to the oil and energy crisis in the 70s. These were all calculated events manufactured and executed by the ruling class to fleece massive fortunes of wealth from the rest of the 99%. And this practice of instigating, calculating, and systematic economic collapse are now occurring much more frequently. In the past 20 years alone, there were 3 significant bubbles to burst in the U.S. alone. And did you know they all followed after a presidential election? Look at the graph of the S&P 500 here. Pay attention to where the red arrow is, because it tells you something. You can clearly see that the stock market was at a historic low in 1997. This low point in the S&P 500 was a direct result from the dot-com crash, just months after the 96 elections. Who were the catalysts responsible for overhyping and inflating the valuations of worthless websites? It certainly wasn't the everyday working-class Joe. And what happened months after the elections? The ruling elite got the candidate they wanted in power and cashed in their chips by dumping their stocks onto the plebes. That is why you can clearly see the S&P 500 starting at its historical low point. Then you see it steadily rise from the low point in 1997 up all the way till its peak in 2000, which coincidentally coincided with the next presidential election. Then after that, you can clearly see, as indicated by the red arrow, that the recession in 2000 began just weeks after the presidential elections finished. In fact, right after the elections concluded, there was a huge drop in the S&P 500 for a few years. Once again, the ruling 1% of the elite got the candidate they wanted and got the populace hiked up and decided to once again cash in their chips and dump their holdings onto the market. And finally, during the global financial crisis in 2008, billions upon billions of dollars of savings and retirement funds of everyday average Americans were lost. But once again, you can see the pattern again. Except this time, after 2000, there wasn't a crash in 2004. But this can be explained as the precursor to the subprime mortgage crisis. The economic manipulation designed to goose the economy before elections often has a deleterious effect that becomes apparent after the election. In fact, the collapse came a bit early. The real estate bubble and financial meltdown became uncontrollable by 2008. Let's look at a graph of the S&P 500 this time again. After an almost unstoppable uptrend from 2000 to 2007, the S&P 500 plummeted to almost historic lows during 2008. In fact, it looked like it fell off a cliff. And what do you know? This once again coincided with the U.S. presidential election once again. So let me ask you, who were the ones involved in the handling and management of the massive investment and hedge funds responsible for the cause of this collapse? It certainly wasn't someone from the 99% peasant class. I can guarantee you that. Could the ones that were ultimately responsible be part of the 1% ruling elite? Now this time around, and looking at historical data from past presidential elections, and knowing that 96% of the time there is a boom period before a presidential election, and remember, I literally just showed you 3 unmistakable examples of the election year market's theory come true. Let's take a look at the S&P 500 charts again. Do you think it's time for a massive market correction? I certainly do so. The analysts think so. Donald Trump thinks so. The World Bank also thinks so. Do you think so? We've all witnessed the billion-dollar bailouts provided by the U.S. government to back the banks that were too big to fail. And now those banks are even bigger. Anyone with more than a rudimentary understanding of the stock market understands that overall trading the stock market results in a zero-sum game. This means, in time, everything reverts back to the mean. Ultimately, all no money will be created or lost, because essentially someone's loss eventually becomes another's profit. There is only a transfer of funds. There is no net creation of wealth in the share market. In other words, another way to put it, all the billions of dollars that were purportedly lost in the U.S. stock market was effectively transferred in the form of enormous profits for the elite 1% who profited billions during this time. Right now, the clock is ticking, and our nation is already beyond the tipping point. We are once again in another election year market, and if history is anything to go by, we're due for a huge market correction. At this stage in the game, even radical action of any sort that our weak-willed political leaders are unwilling to undertake would be simply too little, too late. Understand this. The sequence of events that will guarantee another financial collapse is already well underway, whether you see it or not. This is partly by design, because on one hand, our corrupt political leaders are part of the 1% elite ruling class, and they certainly do not want to cause a wide-scale public panic. And on the other hand, They also serve to profit tremendously from the financial fallout at the expense of the rest of the 99% of the population. But this time, there's a game-changing twist. You see, this time when our economy collapses, it will also bring the U.S. dollar crashing down. After this, many expert economists agree that USD will no longer be the world's market's reserve currency. The World Bank has openly stated the Federal Reserve is printing too much U.S. dollar that the market can no longer tolerate. This in turn will send global financial markets into a downward spiral of epic proportions and lead to an economic downturn of gargantuan proportions on a worldwide scale. Make no mistake, the next collapse will make the global financial crisis we literally just experienced a few years back look like a prosperous and booming bull market, because this time the U.S. government does not have billions of dollars of financial surpluses to bail out the economy. In fact, our government is in more debt than we can fathom to ever pay back already. And just like every other financial calamity, the rest of the 99% will be fleeced, whilst the elite 1% of the ruling class will profit inordinately from this event. You see, using the knowledge that I will present to you in this presentation, you too will also be able to profit tremendously from the next financial crisis, starting tonight. You'll have the knowledge that the ruling 1% possesses and be able to come out on top and profit from the aftermath on a level that you've never previously imagined. You don't need to be a billionaire or have a fancy economics degree to know that the fundamentals behind the U.S. economy is based on very shaky ground. Our economy is founded on very unstable economic pillars, both domestically and internationally. On top of the market manipulation that occurs during every election year, as I just showed you earlier, we're facing another huge problem. Domestically, the U.S. is facing a looming financial crisis. Essentially, the reason why the U.S. is so debt-ridden is due to the perceived expected growth in time. That is why we borrowed so heavily in the past, because all economic prediction models forecasted steady growth at the time. In other words, to grow as a whole, we need to keep unemployment low and keep creating new jobs. In the event that our economy doesn't grow to the projected rate or remain stagnant for too long, then there will be problems paying back all that debt. And historically, looking at the outcomes of past governments and countries that were not able to keep the economy growing, they would almost always default in payment of that debt. Should this happen, the U.S. dollar will be instantly downgraded and would almost trigger overnight an economic calamity similar to the currency crisis that Venezuela experienced not too long ago, where inflation reached over 100% and effectively rendering their currency almost worthless. Except this time, it won't happen to an out-of-the-way country with no real economic presence in the world economy, like Venezuela or Greece. It will be the collapse of the world's single strongest economy that, according to the International Monetary Fund, is literally larger than the next three largest economies combined. Once that happens, the value of the U.S. dollar would collapse like a bunch of dominoes. Although this might sound bleak, this is just the start of our problems. You see, if market manipulation due to election year markets and the domestic employment were the only issues, we might have a chance that the biggest economic downfall in recorded history could be avoided, but it isn't. Because of globalization of the past few decades, the U.S. economy is also vulnerable to other potential risks. Disturbingly enough, these risks don't even need to originate from within our own borders and threaten us internationally. Currently, the U.S. already owes more than $18 trillion in debt to foreign countries, and our national debt is growing at a staggering rate. China and Japan are the largest holders of our debt, and their economies, too, are experiencing major economic downturns. If their economies don't continue to grow, they'll be forced to dump their holdings of U.S. Treasury notes through the secondary market, which would be another serious catalyst for the rapid devaluation of the U.S. dollar as well. What's going to happen when all your savings evaporate into thin air overnight? Make no mistake, there will be bank runs all across the country, coast to coast, where 99% of the population will desperately attempt to withdraw their now worthless paper money. I hope you're prepared, because the clock keeps ticking, and it's a question of when and not if that this inevitability will occur. Are you and your family prepared for what is going to happen? Can you honestly tell me that you and your family will be financially secure after this? Or are you simply hoping that this won't happen? Are you burying your head in the sand pretending that you don't see the same realities that I have clearly highlighted to you in this presentation? I don't know about you, but unlike 99% of the others, I'm actually kind of hoping that a financial collapse will come sooner. I know this might sound extremely selfish, and honestly it is, but before you judge me, first listen to my story. Back in 2004, I had begun monitoring the CDO market with several of my professional colleagues. We saw what was happening to the U.S. market at the time, and how liberal economic policies, along with deregulation, were distorting the price of both the real estate and the equities market. We were one of a small group of people who tried to sound the alarm back in 2004, but we made one critical mistake. We actually trusted that the federal government would do the right thing and reveal this information to the public through public announcements. They did not. Instead, they forced us to shut down in late 2004 and threatened us with legal action if we dared mention our findings. In hindsight, we shouldn't have complied and caved to the pressure. But let's just say the government has a very persuasive way to make you do what they want, especially when you have a family and well-beings of loved ones to look out for. Then we all know what happened next. In 2008, the bottom fell out of the CDO market. Our stock market literally collapsed overnight. This also coincided with an election year, interestingly enough. The first domino toppled over, ensuing in a worldwide financial panic, resulting in a recession that lasted the better part of 10 years. In some ways, we're still digging out of it, and will be for many years to come. However, not everyone was affected by the recession in a negative way. You see, there is an economic theory about the share market, whereby experts argue that it essentially is a zero-sum game. This means the losses of one end up as gains for another, and if history was anything to go by, the 99% of the peasant class would once again be the ones footing the bill and making the elite 1% insane amounts of profits during this time. It was also at this time did I discover the pattern of market manipulation during election year markets. And the more investigation I did about this topic, the more the evidence supported this. I contacted fellow professional colleagues of mine who were very intrigued. Together we started to map out our findings by tracing clues left behind, hidden amongst millions of transactions and financial records. Eventually, we created a program that perfectly simulated abnormal trading patterns we identified from carefully scrutinizing the data. This was painstaking work, as it spanned across different time zones, currency, and financial markets. After months of trial and error, we eventually were able to successfully emulate and replicate the process by which the 1% were able to not only protect their assets, but effectively transferred wealth from the 99% peasant class to themselves. This was achieved through the correct funneling of assets through certain mediums, whilst essentially bearing little or no risk to themselves. And it was nothing like anything we had ever expected, because it wasn't a set of complicated trading rules. No, it was much simpler than that. In fact, after finally figuring out how simple it was almost embarrassing that a bunch of highly trained professionals in the fields of economics, finance, law, and accounting didn't see this obvious method earlier. It was under our noses the entire time, and we weren't able to put our finger on it. Until now. The next logical step, of course, was to actually implement what we had discovered to see how it would react to real-life market conditions, and the effects were outright shockingly impressive. Initially, our tests were much better than expected, so we decided to conduct trials using this secret system with more eager students. It was only after hundreds of tests based off results from varying candidates and scenarios, and having a success rate of more than 95%, did we realize we stumbled across the secret formula that the elite 1% of the ruling class have in their possession this entire time. Initially, we didn't have a name for it, but eventually we decided to call it the U.S. Domino Survivor. This was because of the uncanny ability of the test subjects to not only survive any financial calamity, but to come out and actually thrive after it. And you too can apply the secret tonight. It doesn't matter if you have no financial experience. It doesn't matter if you don't have a lot of time. It doesn't matter if you don't have a lot of money. The best thing is, we've had complete newbies literally tell us that it took them less than 24 hours to implement these secrets and secure all their assets. It's that quick and simple to use. I'm not even exaggerating. We've had students who had zero previous experience report that they were able to utilize what we taught them and actually make a profit from small dips in the economic cycle. Understand this. What you're about to learn isn't some unproven, untested system. This has been meticulously compiled systematically by economic, finance, and legal experts. This is the exact proven and tested system that 1% of the elite ruling class follow in order to transfer wealth from 99% of the peasant class and profit tremendously during any financial downturn. We wholeheartedly believe in this, and we are entrusting the financial safety of our own families using this exact system. We trust in it because we're using it ourselves. Right now, today, if we weren't, we wouldn't even be wasting your time. Here's what Larry from Texas had to say. I'm in my 50s and only made enough to ever pay the bills. I never thought about the financial future of my family until the global financial crisis a few years ago destroyed what little savings I had. I had almost given up on having retirement funds completely and hoped that either the government or my kids will take care of me in the future. When I first tried the U.S. Domino Survivor course, I was worried it would be complicated and hard to implement. I'm not a finance expert, and I also just recently got my new iPad tablet from my daughter as a gift. I wanted to know if it'd work there. I was able to download the entire course within 60 seconds. I really liked how the course came in audio format too, because too much reading hurts my eyes. After applying some of the principles in this course, I was excited to show my son-in-law, who was a top financial planner in town. As soon as he saw what I was doing, he was floored and wanted to copy it. I'm so glad that I tried this course because although I don't have a lot of money, I already profited slightly from a small dip in the market. John, 37, from Johannesburg, South Africa, wrote in. I lost my job several months ago and was hoping I could scrape by on my savings before I got another job. I needed to do something fast because I knew how volatile the economy was, and I was literally almost completely broke. I didn't have thousands of dollars to spend. Then I tried the U.S. Domino Survivor course. The results were almost instant. Within a few days of implementing what I was taught, there was a small bust in a sector where I had some assets in. Normally, I would have panicked and probably lost money in that situation, but this time I followed what I learned and made a tiny profit already. If things keep going this way, maybe I don't need to get another job after all. Michael from Singapore said this. I'd been worried about an economic collapse ever since I was a kid. This was probably because I saw what happened to our family's finances during the 1997 Asian financial crisis. That's why I always saved and was frugal with money. But even then, I wasn't able to walk away unscathed during the last global economic meltdown. I honestly thought to myself I'd never be able to be 100% safe after any financial crisis in the future. Then a friend of mine told me about the U.S. Domino Survivor course, so I decided to try it. And within a few days, I was able to immediately reduce my risk exposure to almost zero during any calamity. After nearly 20 years of constantly worrying about having my savings wiped out, I'm almost hoping that a depression will come sooner, so I can profit handsomely from it. Vincent from Germany wrote, I've never had much of a problem trading the markets and profiting from it. I am financially savvy, and I own and operate various businesses and investments. However, I was never able to fully reduce my risk exposure and set up a system that would both protect me from a financial downturn in the economy and a complete U.S. dollar currency collapse. That was until I read U.S. Domino Survivor and tried some of the strategies mentioned. Since then, my portfolio has always been in the green, even though the market has been on the downswing. The best part is, I don't even watch the market anymore. Inside U.S. Domino Survivor, you'll discover the truth behind the elite 1%. In this shocking chapter, you'll learn in explicit detail how the 1% of the elite have set up both a legal and financial system that focuses on legal wealth transfer from the 99% of the peasant class. This is the real reason why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Once you understand this, you too will also be able to start exploiting and manipulating the system starting tonight. Wouldn't it be great if someone showed you with specific and precise examples how the elite 1% exploit legal loopholes that allow them to actually transfer funds out of the tax system and make the 99% of the peasant class foot the bill? Well, that's just the start of what I'm going to reveal to you in Financial Fundamentals of the Filthy Rich. After applying just 10% of what I show you in this section, you're going to instantly increase your spending income, even if you don't actually earn more money, without getting into horrendous debt, whilst paying less taxes or avoiding them altogether. In the permanent asset protection, you're going to learn previously underground methods that will absolutely guarantee that your existing assets will be untouchable. Let's face it, we all know that the corrupt politicians and their elite have made insane amounts of money year after year. For centuries, all that dirty money must be laundered and stored somewhere safe, right? Let us show you the legal method of money laundering that the ruling class have used for centuries to protect their assets and wealth in perpetuity. That's just one of the eye-opening revelations you're going to get after going through the Permanent Asset Protection module, so you can start applying it tonight. Imagine being in a situation where you'd be making money regardless of where the economy is going. So not only would you be making good money during the boom times, but you are also in a situation where your net worth would actually increase each time there was a financial fallout. Yes, you heard it right. In the Physical Fallout Increasers module, we're going to do all that and much, much more. I guarantee you, as long as you use one tactic in this section, you're going to smile each time the stock market crashes, because that means your net worth will increase each time. Did you know the average American is under unlimited legal and fiscal liability if something happens to them? Yes, that's right. Imagine if you did absolutely nothing wrong, but were still liable to have your entire net worth and financial savings ruined. This could come in the form of legal lawsuits, IRS investigations, and random audits. Crashes in our economy. What if there was a way to not only reduce your financial risk exposure, but eliminate it completely? In the Rapid Risk Reducers, let me show you how to make yourself 100% risk-free from any form of liability that would affect your finances in any way. This way, you'll truly have peace of mind knowing that even if someone with power, money, and influence made you a target, there was absolutely nothing they could do to take away a single penny from you. The next section is almost borderline illegal, and is one of the main reasons we had to host this video offshore. It's borderline illegal because we're going to show you how to prevent paying another penny in tax for the rest of your life. Remember, tax evasion is illegal, but we're not going to do that. Instead, in the perpetual tax prevention section, just like the elite 1%, we're going to legally game the system so that paying the tax man will be a thing of the past. What about exploiting globalization loopholes? Using just one of the secrets I show you here, you're going to be well on your way to throwing extravagant parties and celebrations each time there's a dip in the market. You think the rich care about financial fallouts? No. They know each time something bad happens to the 99% of the peasant class, it means more wealth transferred to them. Now it's your turn to make this happen. Next, you're going to learn about permanent privacy protection. It's a proven fact and already proven on public record that the government and the NSA are literally eavesdropping on the average everyday American, even if you are not a suspected terrorist. Cases show time and time again that when the government can, they will be peering through your emails, reading your text messages, tracking your movements, and even monitoring your online social media posts, such as on Facebook. This is not acceptable, and our rights to privacy should be protected. Since the government wants to abuse your right to privacy, then I'll show you how to absolutely guarantee you can cover your tracks. Let me show you shockingly powerful tricks and methods you can use to make it literally impossible to track you down. It would be as if you disappeared from the face of the earth as far as the government is concerned, ensuring your privacy is 100% safeguarded. Did you know 93% of Americans will be the victim of at least one financial time bomb that will all but cripple their entire net worth in their lifetime? It will only be a matter of time till one of those events will wipe you out. That's why, in the Avoiding Hidden Financial Time Bombs, we're going to show you how to avoid this, and much more. The 1% of the ruling class not only know how to navigate around these hidden financial death traps, but exploit them and use them to their advantage. After using this, you will too. What about losing your liabilities altogether? Let's face it, the ultimate goal is for most people to make lots of money and leave all your liabilities of life behind forever. Let me show you how to use modern-day technology that's readily available right now. Today, you can get off the grid and stop being beholden to anyone, while still enjoying all the perks that go along with our high-tech lifestyle. This is just a short preview of what you'll know after downloading US Domino Survivor. Go ahead and download it to your computer. phone, or tablet. So let me ask you, how much would it be worth to not only survive the coming financial collapse, but come out on top of it with more tangible wealth than you can imagine? Regardless of what financial situation you are in right now, how much debt you're in, and how much money you're making right now. What kind of value would you place on knowing the secret system that the 1% of the ruling class rule to accumulate more wealth than the rest of the 99% of the population, so that even without a collapse, you'll be able to exploit the system and never worry about having not enough money to another bill again, so that you'll finally have the time and money to enjoy life and live it to the fullest without any budgeting restrictions, so that you can be finally free and independent and quit your boring and dull 9-to-5 job that eats away at every facet of your life. Now, I can tell you, in the past, I have attended seminars where people from around the world of all ages and backgrounds have paid thousands of dollars to learn these same secrets. $1,997 would be a fair price for U.S. Domino Surveyor if you considered that you're about to receive all of this information immediately without you having to pay for a seminar ticket and a flight and a hotel room. Not to mention, you'll even receive support from my team to make sure you are 100% successful. But you're not going to pay $1,997. You won't even need to pay $997. Not even $497. Because you're still watching this presentation, it means you're one of the lucky few who are still allowed to participate in this private test group. You can access this complete system, plus a whole bunch of VIP bonuses, for a single one-time 100% refundable deposit in the amount you see on the screen right now. You see, the reason why I had to charge you this nominal amount is because I have to pay to keep this website live and running. Server hosting costs monthly money, and since I'm not technical, I have to reach out to hire a web developer and tech person. That is why I'm asking you for this nominal 100% refundable deposit from you to cover my basic cost. In fact, you're actually really not risking anything, because what you're giving me is totally refundable. If you're still sitting on the fence and can't decide if this one-of-a-kind system is right for you, then I'll make your decision even easier. Your trial purchase is absolutely backed by an ironclad 100% money-back guarantee, so you can download the system knowing that you're not risking a single penny. I'm sure you'll agree that this is a very fair offer. Once you click the Add to Cart button below, you're going to feel great, because you'll know you'll finally be financially secure, regardless of what the economy is doing, even if unemployment is rising and the share market is diving. You'll be trying to hide your delight as you know your net worth is increasing as everyone else's is on the decline. And you'll even receive a package of exclusive bonuses if you click the Add to Cart button. Let me tell you what you'll get. U.S. Domino Survivor audio course, a $147 value. To make it even easier for you to absorb these secrets, we went the extra mile and created an audio version of the entire U.S. Domino Survivor course, and we're giving it to you for free. This way, you can listen to the course on your computer, or in your car, or slip on a pair of headphones and listen while you're at the gym, taking a walk, or anywhere else. And here's the next bonus: Prepping Americans for Hyperinflation Documentary Video, a $67 value. Because we want to make sure that you are thoroughly prepared for the coming collapse, we're including an educational documentary about hyperinflation designed specifically for Americans and people living in Western societies. Be prepared to be shocked to the very core by the contents of this eye-opening presentation. You're going to learn the alarming truth about how close the USA is on the verge of a total financial collapse. That is, until you realize you have this one-of-a-kind U.S. Domino Survivor system at your fingertips. And once you implement the strategies, you'll almost be selfishly salivating each time there is an economic crisis in our nation. TSA Proof Credit Card Knife, a $27 value. If you ever wanted to be able to carry around a razor-sharp knife that even the TSA cannot detect, this thing passes metal detectors, then I have you covered. I'm going to ship you an ultra-slim knife that is disguised as a credit card that you literally carry around in your wallet. The best thing is that this is not some flimsy plastic knife either. It has surgical steel blade and is made from stainless steel, so it's durable and rust-proof. Don't worry about cutting yourself either. It has a built-in safety sheath and this prevents any accidents caused by an open blade in your pocket or pack, and even prevents the blade from becoming blunted during everyday carry. On top of that, I'm also going to give you absolutely free a EverStrike waterproof fire starter match, a $27 value. If you're ever in a situation where you'll need to create fire fast, then I've also got you covered here. Regardless of what circumstance you find yourself in, even if it's pouring down rain or you're in the middle of a snowy blizzard, you know you're safe because you're going to have this one-of-a-kind Ferro Wad and Wick waterproof match at your disposal. The Ferro Rod strikes at over 3,000 degrees and flame burns at over 600 degrees Fahrenheit. And the best thing is, each match is capable of 15,000 long-burning strikes. It will be as if you brought your own personal fire-starting furnace wherever you go. And finally, we're also going to give you unlimited lifetime updates to the system, a $19 value. It always bugs me when I buy a course online and then a few weeks or months later they announce some new version and expect me to pay more money for it. The U.S. Domino Survivor system is constantly being updated and improved with new modules and strategies, and whenever a new version is released, you will receive an email from us that allows you to download the latest version for free. So let me remind you of the bonuses you're going to instantly receive on top of the U.S. Domino Survivor system when you click the Add to Cart button below. U.S. Domino Survivor Audio Course, a $147 value. Prepping Americans for Hyperinflation documentary video, a $67 value. TSA-proof credit card knife, a $27 value. EverStrike waterproof fire starter match, a $27 value. Unlimited lifetime updates to the system, a $19 value a month. That's over $287 of value. And those are just the high-quality bonuses we're going to give you on top of the U.S. Domino Survivor system. Remember, this one-of-a-kind system that reveals the financial secret of the 1% and is valued at more than a few $1,000s when you factor in what we normally charge to our students. And you can download the entire U.S. Domino Survivor and receive all $287 worth of bonuses for the one-time 100% refundable deposit that you see on the page now. The bonuses alone make this a ridiculously cheap bargain, but this might not be available tomorrow, which is why you need to click the Add to Cart button right now. On the next page, you will complete your order. Your purchase is 100% secure and is encrypted with the latest 256-bit encryption protocol, which guarantees that your purchase is safe, secure, and most importantly, private. And remember, your trial purchase is backed by a 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee. And the only reason we can make you this risk-free offer is that we are very confident that you'll be absolutely thrilled by the secrets you're about to learn. Click the Add to Cart button below this video so you can discover these incredible, life-changing secrets right now. But you do need to act now. The window of opportunity for you to save yourself from the coming economic collapse is rapidly closing. This is why you must take action right now in order to secure access to this entire system and receive all the bonuses. You are looking at a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to totally transform your own destiny so that you'll finally know the feeling of being in control of your future forever. Look, the reality is that the financial collapse is happening. I have already shown you definite proof about the existence of market manipulation and the existence of a boom before and during election year markets. The warning signs are painfully obvious and clear as day. You can either be prepared to weather the storm, and using my strategies, you'll actually come out on top, or you can pretend it's not coming and be caught by surprise when it happens and everything starts falling apart around you. The question then is, which position would you rather be in? Caught by surprise and swept up in the chaos, putting your family at risk, or prepared and able to weather the storm and profit tremendously from it? You've probably seen the signs yourself on the news and grown uneasy, even if you weren't exactly sure why you were uneasy. Those were your instincts kicking in, telling you that trouble was coming. Deep down inside, you know it's true. The only question that really matters is, will you be ready for it when it happens? Or will you and your family be one of the countless nameless victims that will be another statistic suffering from the imminent collapse that you can see no doubt is coming? Don't let that happen. Once you apply what I teach you, you will never have another worry in this world to ever worry over. Right now, The choice you make will absolutely affect the rest of your life. Because if you make the right choice, you will have the ability to change your future and thrive from the imminent collapse of the U.S. economy. And yes, you can have it all tonight. All you need is to click the Add to Cart button below and complete the checkout process and apply this easy, proven method. Now, since you have watched this far, I know you might be sitting on the fence and asking yourself whether or not to take advantage of this offer. But the only reason you are where you are right now is because I know you know somewhere in the back of your mind that what I'm telling you is right. You know deep down inside that something is missing, but you just can't place your finger on what it is. So you're at a crossroads, and you have three options. Option 1, you can close this page and leave right now. You will continue to live the life that you have and experience again and again the kind of disappointment and financial uncertainty that led you to watching this presentation. We both know that this isn't what you want. Option 2, you can leave this page and try to use the knowledge you've gained from this presentation to wing it and figure it out yourself. But let's face it, unless you have the exact secret formula that I'm going to show you in the U.S. Domino Survivor system, no amount of winging it will be able to allow you to exploit the loopholes that the 1% ruling class have been using since the advent of our modern financial system. And when the coming economic collapse comes, you're just going to be another financial fatality statistic being reported on the news. Option 3, you can try out U.S. Domino Survivor and take advantage of this incredible package, including the VIP bonus material for the incredibly low discounted deposit that is 100% refundable. Remember, as I've shown you already, the bonuses on their own are valued at around $287 and are worth more than the price you're being asked to pay right now. Simply click the Add to Cart button below and complete your checkout process. Remember, this really is a 60-day trial purchase and it's absolutely risk-free. This website's records now show that there are less than 7 spots left out of the 300 spots originally available. This presentation is being watched by 2,327 people right now. We expect the remaining 7 spots to be claimed within the next few minutes, if not sooner. So if you don't take immediate action, I cannot promise that you'll be able to receive these secrets after today. Click the Add to Cart button right now and give it a test drive for 60 days. But we're confident that you're going to be absolutely blown away by the secrets you are about to discover. Let's face it, you and your family deserve a secure and safe financial future. I know that, and if you've watched this far, you know that as well. Now is the time to take what is rightfully yours. Now is the time to experience the kind of lifestyle that you were destined and deserve to live, so that you'll never have to worry about what will happen to the interest rates, so you'll never need to worry about what is happening to the economy, so that regardless of the way the share market is going, you'll know you're covered and your net worth will only go one way, and that is up. It's time for you to take charge of your financial future, so you're no longer just another individual who has their rights exploited and abused by the 1%. And to be one of the ruling elite of people who know how to game the system and manipulate the laws and regulations to your advantage. This is what you will experience if you click the Add to Cart button below this video and try out U.S. Domino Survivor. Make today the day that your financial future will be safe and secure. Make today the day you'll mark on your calendar where you finally overcome all your fears and doubts and get the peace of mind that your family deserves. So you'll be bulletproof regardless of what the economic outlook is, regardless how bad inflation is. You will always have the U.S. Domino Survivor secret safeguarding your assets. It doesn't matter what hardships everyone else will face. You know you have life's trump card in your hands. All you need to do is click on the Add to Cart button to get immediate access. Once you click the button below, you'll receive instant access to these bonuses on top of the U.S. Domino Survivor system. U.S. Domino Survivor audio course, a $147 value. Prepping Americans for Hyperinflation documentary video, a $67 value. TSA-proof credit card knife, a $27 value. EverStrike waterproof fire starter match, a $27 value. Unlimited lifetime updates to the system, a $19 value per month. This is the only course out there that shows you the secret of the 1% ruling class, so that you'll be able to understand and exploit legal loopholes to your advantage. According to our stats, our number of available spots is now down to 4. Within a few minutes, this website will no longer be online, and your chance to access this secret method will be gone for good. Make today the day that changed your life once and for all. It only takes one click of the button below. Whatever you decide to do, I truly wish you the best. Hey, you're still around? Maybe you have some questions. So let me answer some of the most popular ones for you. Johnny, 45 from Phoenix, Arizona, emailed us to ask this question. Is the U.S. Domino Survivor course going to work for someone like me? I have a regular job and I don't have extra money to spend. I also have a family to take care of and I don't have a lot of time. Does it apply to all kinds of people in any situation? Johnny, the answer is yes. This will work for you in any given situation, including yours. Remember, this method reveals to you the secret that the 1% of the elite use to dominate and control 99% of the world's wealth, regardless of what the global economic situation is. The U.S. Domino Survivor works for anyone, regardless of your situation. It works if you're a single parent. It works if you don't have a lot of time. It works if you have bad credit. It works for you even if you don't have a lot of money. This works for anyone, period. Next question from Vincent in Austin, Texas. How fast do I get access to the program, and will it work on my phone or iPad? Vincent, you will have all these secrets laid out in front of you within 30 seconds. As soon as you complete your checkout, your spot will be reserved to receive the training system, and you'll be able to access and download it to any device, including your iPhone, iPad, smartphone, computer, or laptop. Johnson in Las Vegas, Nevada, asked this. What if it doesn't work for me? Can I trust your 60-day money-back guarantee? Johnson, your purchase is really just a test purchase because it's backed by a 100% ironclad guarantee. If you implement what we teach you and take action and still don't get the results within 60 days, then just send us an email and we'll refund every penny. He also continues, how hard is it to implement this plan? It sounds complicated. If it sounds complicated, that's because you haven't seen the step-by-step outline we have mapped out for you. Of course, it seems overwhelming at first, but that's why we have created U.S. Domino Survivor to be as foolproof as possible. There's no need to be intimidated by the process, though. We'll guide you through every step. Robert, 35, from Quebec, Canada, asked this. How long will this take? We have had students finishing this course within the same day of downloading. Others have taken longer. So it really depends on how quickly you want to become 100% financially secure. It can be done in as little or as much time as you dictate. He then continues. Okay, but what if nothing happens? We created the U.S. Domino Survivor with survival in mind. And make no mistake, something will happen. But even if I'm wrong and nothing happens, you'll have gained a boatload of invaluable skills that no one can take away from you. Now, on top of that, if you apply the secrets we teach you, every single time there's a dip in the share market or a potential threat to the economy, you're going to have an increase in your overall net wealth. Remember, we're showing you the tricks and strategies that the secret 1% of the ruling elite to dominate and control the world's wealth, regardless of the current prevailing economic conditions at the time. And finally, Robert finishes with this. I don't have a lot of time or money. Will this work for me? The short answer is yes, this will work for you. The complete answer is that you will have to spend at least a little money to get the system completely set up. But it's not like you need thousands of dollars lying around. What you need to start is minimal. Anthony from Brisbane, Australia asked, will this work if I'm outside the U.S.? Even though we wrote the U.S. Domino Survivor system with residents of the U.S. in mind, the system, by design, sees those who practice it traveling all over the world. So yes, you could start from anywhere in the world and still make full use of this program. The asset protection strategies will work for you no matter where you are, as will the rest. And he finishes with, what exactly do I get when I try out U.S. Domino Survivor? When you click the Add to Cart button below and proceed to the next page, you'll not only get the complete U.S. Domino Survivor system, but you'll also get the following bonuses if you take action today. U.S. Domino Survivor audio course, a $147 value. Prepping Americans for Hyperinflation documentary video, a $67 value. TSA-proof credit card knife, a $27 value. EverStrike waterproof fire starter match, a $27 value. Unlimited lifetime updates to the system, a $19 value per month. This VIP exclusive bonus package you are about to receive by itself is worth far more than the nominal 100% refundable deposit you are going to pay for the U.S. Domino Survivor. So I'm sure you'll agree that this is a very generous offer. Once again, let me remind you, this package is backed by an unconditional 60-day money-back guarantee. You have 2 full months to try out this package for a full 60 days. This is a trial purchase where you're risking nothing. Remember, if you have any more questions, you can simply click Add to Cart button and you'll see contact details on the download page where we'll be more than happy to assist you with whatever you need. Let's face it, our country's economy is not going to stay as strong as it was, and the signs of collapse are already imminent and everywhere. The government's fiscal policy of quantitative easing keeps driving the velocity of money lower. Remember, it's lower now than it was during the height of the Great Depression. The recovery is a sham and a lie. There are fewer people working today than there were when the recession started in 2008, and that number continues to shrink. We're already at the tipping point. At this point, there's nothing that can be done to prevent a collapse. You can see for yourself that a market correction is due. It's inevitable. Just keep an eye on the headlines. You can't miss it. The signs are everywhere. Collapse is coming, and the U.S. government knows it. The elite 1% of the ruling class have their backup plans already. But what about you? What will you and your family do? Because you know as well as I do, when the shit hits the fan, you're going to be left alone. No help is going to come and aid you. You'll be left on your own, because Uncle Sam isn't coming to your rescue. They never were, and when it all comes apart, FEMA might show up at your door, but not to help. They'll come to try to take your stockpile away. Just load it onto the back of one of their trucks and leave you high and dry. But if you are smart, you won't be there when it happens, of course. Why? Because you'll be living a better, freer life, traveling the world, and largely immune to the collapse when it happens. They won't be able to touch you or your family. So go on. Click one of the Add to Cart buttons below and give U.S. Domino Survivor a test drive, so you'll have the peace of mind you and your family deserve. Thank you again for watching this presentation. This is Richard Gates, signing off.